Justin Murphy reports on one of rock's stayers.
You know, it's funny, I have a 12-year-old son. If you ask him his 3 favorite bands, other than Dad, of course, who pays his allowance, he'd say the Beach Boys, the Beatles, and the Four Seasons.
Did you get mad when you first told me this?
No, because I'm a big fan of all 3 of those bands.
Alice Cooper is back in town for the first time in 7 years, smiling, relaxed, and genuinely non-threatening. The violent shock tactics and outrageous stage acts are, he says, just that, confined to the performance. Offstage, he's rather nice to know.
I never was that bad off stage. I used to abuse myself pretty much with alcohol. But my onstage persona was always, I always thought that there was enough rock and roll heroes and not enough villains. And so I created Alice to be Captain Hook. I wanted Alice to be that character, and he still is.
The 49-year-old father of 3 with a golf handicap of 4 is no longer a shocker, but a full-blown entertainer.
I am probably as showbiz as anybody gets. You know, when you see Alice on stage, you're still going to see a hardcore character. You're going to see a character that's every bit as vital as he was in the early 70s. Only now he's more controlled on a level of audience control. I have control of the audience now.
But are you tricking your young audience now? Because after all, at home, you are a teetotal, golf-playing Christian.
I say, oh, sure. I'm very vocal about what I am off stage. But, of course, Alice isn't a teetotaling, you know. Alice is Alice. I don't know exactly who Alice is. I don't want to know who Alice is. I've never known who Alice is. And so we have a nice kind of relationship that I don't want to know who he is. I'll never have lunch with him. I'll never sit and talk to him about what he does. I've invented this Frankenstein. I mean, I'm Dr. Frankenstein. He's the monster.
But Alice's ideas are not your ideas?
I think that he does what I control him to do. But at the same time, when you see what he does, I dare you to find something that he does up there that's, you know, that's worse than something that's going on in your mind.
As a Christian all along, though, as you said this morning earlier on.
Well, not all along, no. Well,
I misunderstood you then.
Christian. You know, I certainly went out into the world and became as insane as anybody. But I think that you, as anybody else, if I was a plumber, I'd be saying this. If I were an electrician, there comes a time when you have a right to try to find God in your life. And that was my right to do that, even as a rock star.
So when did you embrace Christianity?
About 4 years ago.
And what prompted it?
We'll move on to the rock and roll stuff.
Brian, I'll take care of this. The deal is about it, I think, is that when the older you get and the smarter you get, things become more important in your life, right? Rock and roll is really important to me. But off that, again, I have my other life. You know, my family's just as important, is more important, you know. My relationship with God is more important than that. So, you know, I am not just this rock and roll animal that's up there. I'm a lot of things.
You said that politics is boring. Why? Why do you think that?
Rock and roll is to get away from politics. Your parents care about politics, not you. You know, that was the whole idea. You know, I listened to Elvis Presley so I wouldn't have to listen to Edward R. Murrow. You know, I listened to the Beatles so I didn't have to listen to Walter Cronkite. To me, they never met.
Okay, so did you listen to Dylan?
Oh, love Bob Dylan. But, you know, if you ask Bob Dylan about his lyrics, he'll tell you it just sounded good. When I say, well, you know, Johnny's in the basement mixing up the medicine, I'm on the cement talking about the government, does this, and I'll say, what did that mean? He'll go, it sounded good.
Really?
John Lennon told me the same thing. I said, here come old flat top. I said, what did that mean? He said, it just sounded good.
And as to the nastiest piece of Cooper mythology, that he slaughtered a live chicken mid-concert, denied. I wasn't there, of course, but could you tell me what did happen to that chicken?
Somebody threw a chicken on stage. I threw it back.
Was it alive?
Yeah, it was alive. It was alive last time I had it. I threw it back in the audience. The audience, from what I understand, tore it to pieces. The audience also, the first 10 rows were all in wheelchairs. They put all the crippled people in the front rows at this big pop festival. So the crippled people in the wheelchairs tore the chicken apart. And so that was the legend started there.
Okay.
I've been living that story down for 30 years.